All right, so a couple of things. Mapping where you are in terms of progress. And was this mapping question, was it related to meridians or also nadis? Meridians, I suppose?
Mainly meridians, yeah.
Okay. And then the other question was just a general question about Mahasiddha Bhumis. Yeah, it must sound like when if somebody starts listening to, you know, well, first of all, it's not possible to have a tantric path without plenty of technical details. That's just how it is, you know. If it's not the technical details in terms of progress, in terms of path maps, like we discussed 13 bhumis and different vibrational fields and chakras and nadis and meridians and so on, then it's technical details about visualizations or technical details about practices and rituals and so on. So it's very different from practices that are simpler, namely very different from sutrayana practices. I just recently was reading something that was discussing secular mindfulness and how Buddhist mindfulness and secular mindfulness has been taught in United States in and in the West in general. Um, I just completely lost the track of my thought. There was I had to do something technical, and I completely lost the track. Oh, and comparing mindfulness and Buddhist mindfulness to Zen Buddhism and Zen Buddhism's success in United States, it was discussing mainly, and comparing it with Tibetan Buddhism, which is well, actually, most of Tibetan Buddhism is Sutrayana, so non-tantric. But when we speak of Tibetan Buddhism, we speak of Tantric Buddhism. So those traditions and those teachings that are tantric. But at the same time, lot of Tibetan Buddhism is actually sutric and scriptural study and so on. Anyway, so the article was discussing, how people coming from American culture, how many of them have a hard time relating to what the Vajrayana is and how it looks, because it subconsciously or consciously reminds of Christian religion and art and the whole shebang. So the writer, I don't even remember who wrote it, but I think he or she was right in saying that this is why Zen Buddhism, for example, or secular mindfulness or Buddhist mindfulness, simple Buddhist mindfulness, is much more popular than Tibetan Vajrayana Buddhism in the States. Yeah, so, well, was just a random remark that came to our mind thinking about this, but in any case, tantric practice needs to have lots of details, and especially when one is in the very beginning, joining the first or second practice session, you can get started by somebody saying that, like in Zen Buddhism, that sit down, put your attention to your belly, and just start feeling the movement of the breath and follow that movement. So simple practice instructions can be given in 3 minutes. And the same applies to Vajrayana. Tantric practice is that, sit down, calm down, here's a mantra, and you just start repeating it in your mind or aloud. and you get started with that, no problem. But when one becomes a tantric practitioner, then I would say that the practitioner requires more information and more technical details. Requires, and this is not necessarily, well, usually when tantric teachings are given, there is, you know, much more information and instructions than just here's a mantra, repeat it. So it is usually a bit more extensive, but at the same time, and this is an interesting point about pragmatic dharma and pragmatic tantra that we practice, that the details that we have in Amrita Mandala, the pointers that I give and given for years, they are always directly practice related, experience related. So this is very important, something that I find very necessary to emphasize, that it's always related to practice and how things work in actuality, rather than, you know, just some information about stuff that don't really relate to practice or awakening or the ultimate goal of reaching Buddhahood. So Mahasiddha Bhumis, just earlier today when I was doing my morning practice, I was looking at the subtle body of mine, just, you know, feeling it. Feeling the edges of the aura, the elliptical sphere around the body that is commonly known as aura, and how there is a special kind of energy on the outer edge, outer rim of the whole auric field. I'm talking about this, so feel it. See if you can perceive what I'm speaking about. So aura around the body. Where are the edges? Where are the edges of the aura all around the body? Be playful, not too serious. Actually, you don't need any seriousness at all. Just playful. One way to detect the edge of the aura is that you, how do you say, you extend your attention away from your body and you keep moving your point of attention until you feel that there is a shift in the way how the air feels or the space feels. And that's how you know when there's a shift at around 1.2, 1.3, 1.5 meters. That's when you know that that's where the edge of the aura is. So simply when you move your attention away from your physical body, at some point you will feel this kind of change in tone, shift in tone, change in feel, and that's it. So we could do experimentation and explore our subtle bodies for a month-long retreat from morning till night. And I'm not going to go into the basics now. So, most of folks joining this session are members of the Sangha already, and I'm sure that you've all read the books that we have that discuss these things. But I'll point out, let's do this little experiment, exploration of the subtle body, and I'll point out a few things. Last week in this open satsang, I taught a Kriya practice from Tirumular. Many of you joined that session, and even if you didn't, let's do the following. So wherever you might be, your attention might be there on the outer rim of the aura, stop your attention at the very edge of the aura. Just stop it there and hold it there. Hold it there in a way that you can still perceive subtle energy, that you're able to sense subtly. It doesn't matter if you're on the left or right side, front or back, below or above, doesn't matter where your attention is now resting, as long as it rests at the very edge of the aura. What do you sense? What do you sense? A tip? The question was about Mahasiddha Bhumis 11, 12 and 13, which in common language means our enlightened basic nature. When you make a contact with the outer edge of the aura, and you really tune into the energy, vibration that is there, how does it make you feel in your whole body and mind? Let's spend a few more moments here before continuing our experiment. So it should make you feel, if not exactly the same, when connecting with Mahasiddha Bhumis below or above, then almost exactly the same. The reason why I say that if it's not identical but almost exactly the same is because our attention is going horizontally somewhere around us, and that's why it might feel different. All right, let's take another point somewhere else in the aura at the outer edge. Choose a different location and do the same. First, find the edge. And then find the exact outer rim. And feel the energy at the rim. Feeling energy at the rim means that your attention is in a gentle, light manner placed on the outer edge of the aura, and you're letting the energy of it reach your body physically and subtle body energetically. That's what I mean when I say that attention is light. When it is light, the energy, the feel from the aura, the outer edge, automatically reaches your body and mind, and you're able to feel, you're able to sense, kind of get a taste how it feels like. So when you do this, assuming that you're able to place your attention correctly and then able to relax enough and allow the energy to reach your body, you should feel the three basic qualities of the basic state, which means that your mind should get clear. At the same time, it feels very soft, kind of loaded with the sense, the feel, the energy of goodness, and also becoming very grounded, stable. Very good. Again, this is a little experimentative workshop on Mahasiddha Bhumis. So let's continue with joining the vertical pillar, connecting the vertical pillar, starting with the other half that is below the body. So feel your physical body for a moment. Feel the skin around the body and what is inside the skin. And then you can again let your point of attention travel downwards in a light, sensitive manner until you reach the depth of 5-6 meters below the pelvic floor. Or alternatively, you can just let the whole pillar of centers below the pelvic floor just become open up for the energy from that pillar to arise up into the space of the body so that it can be felt. It can also be, the connection can be activated by saying an affirmation or a prayer like this. May the Bhumi pillar below my body all the way down to the Mahasiddha Bhumis 11, 12, 13, and then the Bhumis in between 7, 8, 9, 10. May the whole pillar of centers become active and be connected with the rest of my subtle body and physical body. Often when people discuss tantric yoga, or impression people might have about tantric yoga is that we do different kinds of rituals with different ritual items, objects like vajras or bells or stuff like this. But actually, the main course of tantra is to feel energies and absorb them into the body and mind. So there's lots of chanting of mantras and doing different types of practices, but at least as much or even more of silent meditation, like this, feeling energy, absorbing it with body and mind. Tantra is energy work that is meditative, and it feels so good, doesn't it? Still, now that we're feeling the connection with the pillar below, let's make this as casual and comfortable and safe to us as possible. So first of all, this is your own subtle body. You know, the term Mahasiddha Bhumis might, well, it is very technical term. That's all it is, referring to ground of great perfect attainment. But at the same time, you know, if we use perhaps a term that is more familiar with in the Western culture, this is our soul. This is the purity and love and goodness and groundedness of our own soul, the core of our being or heart of our being. So it is necessary for us to approach and understand that we are not connecting some very technical or some very religious or something external to us. This is our own subtle body. This is one way to cultivate and reveal the perfectly enlightened nature of ours. So connect your body and mind with these very special centers, in this case below the body, in a way that feels right to you. In the sense that, you know, you really feel and make yourself feel at home with this. It's so that it's not an exercise that you perform, practice that you do from one day to the other, perhaps in a mechanical way. No. Make a connection, understand that this is who you are. Really make your home in this, in quotations, practice. It's not a practice for the sake of practice. It's practice for the real sake for knowing ourselves truly and genuinely. In this way, with this instruction, we are prioritizing the result of knowing ourselves fully and completely and perfectly, which means to attain complete enlightenment or Buddhahood, Mahasiddhahood within this single lifetime. Enlightenment is about knowing ourselves in the clearest, and I wouldn't want to say deepest because that gets me into trouble with Buddhists, but in the clearest sense of the word, meaning of the word. So you're allowed to, it's an interesting thing how the subtle body works and how there's also intelligence in our subtle body. You know, if we wanted, you could address those Mahasiddha Bhumis, those centers below or above. You could speak to them in the form of Guru or perhaps God, address it as God if you wanted to, or give it a name of any spiritual ideal or idol who you feel, who you who is meaningful to you. Or you can address it as the Buddha within. You can address it as your own soul. My master, Sivakami, my guru, she used to speak of oversoul, oversoul. She used that term because, of course, soul is everywhere. Like soul, spirit, our spirit is spread throughout our whole system already. But the reason why she spoke of oversoul is because in this case, when accessing the end of the pillar below or the end of the pillar above, it's kind of over. So she was speaking of oversoul, using a term that felt good for her and felt right for her. Make it meaningful in a way that it means something to you, means more than an exercise, something that you perform. Really, truly connect the inner meaning, the secret meaning of this teaching. And it always have to be like this, finding the meaning for you. If there is no meaning, it feels totally pointless to visualize rainbow colored auras or do alternate nostril breathing or whatever. You always have to connect and understand the meaning and connect that meaning with yourself. Remove any sense of superficiality. I don't know if that's a word, but any sense of superficialness from this whole ordeal. So you can totally find the right way to address your soul, oversoul, your spirit. Perhaps you can speak of the true nature of Luke, true nature of Gwen, however you want to verbalize it. So may all these channels and the continuum of channels from nadis to meridians to physical cells be perfectly connected and active like it is when we reach light body consisting of purified nadis and purified meridians. when there is deeper meaning that means something to us, not only something superficial, then the magic, the value of practice, the benefits really start coming. Because then energies, you're working with full energies, not only like some percentage of energies, but like fuller energy. When there's meaning, there's sincerity, there's honesty, the kindness of our basic state can be instantly felt, goodness of it. That's what I mean by rich, full. And that richness and fullness is the healer. That's the healer. It is easy to heal when we practice like this, but very difficult to heal if something, one of these points is missing. So feel the fullness, richness of your own system, richness, fullness of yourself. It's like this peace that tastes like honey, fills your whole being. Tastes like honey, feels like being perfectly loved and filled with love, filled with kindness. It heals. It can feel blissful. Love feels blissful a little bit. And that's also awesome. That love, that bliss, subtle bliss, it heals in perfect way. What do we need to do? Just take that healing. Just make that connection, in this case with the pillar below, and then just let that energy, let your basic nature, let the basic nature of Sylvia, basic nature of Uma, Vlad, just let it heal. Make yourself available to this healing. You might feel that the Shakti, that kind of tastes like honey, feels soft and blissful, feels irresistible, isn't it? When something is really good and feels natural, feels just right, it feels irresistible. So you might feel how the energy from the pillar below, how it ascends inside this body space, inside hands, inside arms, inside feet, inside legs, and lower part of the body. You might feel how that sense ascends to the level of the heart and perhaps just little above it. That it fills up lower part of the body. About to the level of the heart. And if it gets dry or even drier, that it doesn't feel rich and full anymore, find that meaning again. Connect again with meaning. Remind yourself that this is your own pure, perfect, subtle body that directly relates and is our enlightened nature. What happens because of our samsaric habits and patterns is that things get serious, things get rigid, things get dry. Our experience gets dry for one reason or the other. So we need to, this is what cultivation is. Cultivation is a term from agriculture, from farming. And in farming there are some basic principles. Watering whatever you're farming, cultivating, is essential. Here you're watering, making it wet instead of letting it dry up. So many meditators and temples I've been to, and maybe you have also been, where it is very dry. People become like calculators. Well, there is meaning in mathematics, and calculators are useful, but there is also this side to us, this rich, full flavor. And it is only through this clarity that kind of relates to that mathematical, calculative aspect, discriminative aspect of the mind, but there is also this full, sweet, rich honey. In a bit more traditional terms, I'm talking about Dharmakaya and then Sambhogakaya or Mahasukhakaya. These bodies of clarity and enjoyment and great body of great ease, body of great joy. So you marinate your body, marinate your cells, marinate your meridians until you get very tired. And we get tired because our samsaric bodies, with the samsaric habits and patterns stored in them, sets limitations to our practice and its duration as long as these habit patterns are there. All right, so may the pillar below the body be active and connected, fully active and fully connected with the nadis, meridians and cells through the whole continuum of subtle and physical bodies, for the sake of all sentient beings, for the sake of our own enlightenment, for the sake of all beings. So this is still a workshop on Mahasiddha Bhumis and energetics of the tantric teachings of Amrita Mandala. And take a moment before we continue to the pillar above, take a moment to look, to perceive how the pillar below the body, how it looks like. Don't say I can't. Don't say it's too difficult. Cut all that nonsense and just look, just listen, just feel. And don't accept no for an answer. No, there is nothing I can feel. Drop that. Perceive. These centers are there. Get some feel of them. And especially get a feel of those special centers, 11, 12, 13. How do they feel like, look like? And how does the connection from those centers, how is the connection made with the aura, with the body and its meridians? Look at it, find out. Find a way to perceive. May our subtle bodies and its energies and its channels and lines be easily detectable to us, so that we can feel, see, perceive them. See, it's all intelligent. It responds. See if you can perceive the width, width, width of the pillar, width of the Bhumi, Mahasiddha Bhumi chakras. What's the size of them? and see if you can perceive the outer rim of the pillar. The outer rim. Do you see the outer rim of the lower pillar? What kind of energy is there? What color is there? What feel is there? Can you feel? You know, it's like a large tube, roughly half a meter in diameter, this pillar. Can you perceive how the edges of that pillar connects with the edges of the aura? Oh, very good, folks. Good. And then let's connect the pillar above. Same way. Feel into the space high above the head. Remember that these are not some technical chakra things. What are they? What's the meaning of this connection, this energy to you? this is yourself, not in samsaric, but awakened, enlightened way. Yourself with pure mind, pure body, pure energy, not dirty or deluded energy. Just surrender. No need to analyze. No point of thinking, am I worthy? Am I ready? Drop that, cut that, and just surrender. Just take in. Let it touch your head, let it touch your heart. Let it touch all of you. Because what? Because it is you. Again, that rich, full, sweet, also, you might feel as if there is a weight or pressure on the head, on the body. This is because the energy of your own true self, Shakti of your true self, is pushing strongly into your meridians and nadis. And so it feels like there's a weight or a pressure. You just sit in that. Just relax in that. Like relaxing on a weight of a waterfall. See how from the descent of powerful, graceful energy, how it connects with the crown and how it connects with the central channel from the crown through the brain, down the spine, all the way to the tip of the spine, tip of the tailbone, and further down. After feeling the connection in the central channel, feel the connection. There are these pure areas, exactly the same like Mahasiddha Bhumis at both ends of the vertical pillar, inside the body as well. Inside the head, inside the heart, inside the chest, and inside the belly, known as the three dantians in Chinese and Japanese systems. So it's a fist size, 3 fist size areas inside the body space. Feel the connection from the pillar above with the dantian, with this pure area right at the center of the head. Mahasiddha Bhumi, connecting with Mahasiddha Bhumi. One is outside the body, above the body. One is inside the head. Sometimes it might feel very strong, and there might be, you might have the idea that, oh, is this too strong? Is it gonna knock me out? No, it isn't. It will not knock you out. Knocking you out unconscious is the opposite that the basic nature, true self, pure nature does. It just feels at times very strong because of that, because of the dirt in the system and meeting of pure energy and the dirt. That's all. Just relax into it. Surrender. Give your body, give your muscles, your head, your skull, your brain, everything offer. Offering to the Buddha within. Offering your being or suffering to the being that is pure and holy, sacred. Sacred, pure. And then feel the connection of the energy that descends down from high above the body with the fist size pure area inside the chest, in the middle of the chest. Heart Dantian. The secret heart center. If you feel the descending energy touches the head also with the heart, that's perfectly fine. So you don't need to put the head center aside while you're connecting with the heart. Sometimes the energy is so strong that you might have a hard time thinking or understanding my instructions. That's okay. If that's the case, just enjoy. Just enjoy the ride. Then the third Dantien in the gut, inside the belly, there in the middle, again fist size. Let's connect the gut center to the pillar below the body. So feel that area inside the belly. If it is difficult to you, you can sit with me and the transmission will take care of it. You will start feeling it. You get a hang of it. So from the gut, between the gut and the pillar below, for the benefit and for the liberation, for the sake of well-being and peace of all beings. May the centers in our guts be connected with the pillar below the body. Our soul centers, oversoul centers, pure spirit centers below the body. the connection from the pillar below with the tailbone. And there are many, like a bundle of fibers, channels from the pillar below coming up to the tailbone, connecting with the tailbone, and from there connecting with becoming one, becoming united with the central channel in the spine that goes up. Let's continue a little bit more. So now we have established through experientially, the subtle body. And then to a few more things just to wrap up my answer to Uma's question. So bring your attention to the pillar above the body again. And again feel into the size, width of the centers high above. And then the width of the central beam, the pillar. Observe how the beam, the pillar, how it is there on top. You can take a moment to feel to the space above the pillar. And then just let your attention travel down the sides of the beam, the outer rim of the beam, down towards the body and towards the aura. And again observe how the beam connects with the aura. So we connected the pillar below as well as the pillar above, the whole vertical beam with the aura. And we started with sensing the edge of the aura around the body. Is it, isn't it, that there are layers of these, technically speaking, using a technical term, Mahasiddha Bhumis at the edge of the aura? Which is why we can, by connecting with the edge of the aura, connecting it with the body-mind inside the aura, we can have, let's say, a deep experience or recognize our basic nature. Just like we can recognize it through connecting with the far ends of the pillars, or through accessing the three secret areas inside the body, head, heart, and gut. I would also like to point out that maybe you can feel it, when you look, when you approach the edge of the aura in this manner, and there is this sense of the basic characteristics of the basic state popping up. Can you perceive the same but thinner layers on the skin surrounding the whole body? And then the very last pointer. Can you perceive the Mahasiddha Bhumi energy, your true self, from every cell of your body? All right, stay with it. Lie down.